Welcome. Today, we're diving into advanced lists and data frame manipulation. This session is part of the Data Analytics Handbook, focusing on how to work deeply with lists and edit data frames effectively. Let's explore the tools and techniques that make handling complex data simpler and more powerful. Let's dive into lists. One of the most flexible data structures in R here. We create a list with three elements: a number, a string, and a logical value. Notice the difference between double brackets and single brackets. Double brackets pull out a single element directly, while single brackets return a sublist, keeping the list structure intact. Understanding this distinction is key as we explore advanced list and data frame manipulation in this unit. Let's take a closer look at nested lists and how we can work with them. Here, we have a list within a list, a structure that lets us organize data in layers. To access elements inside, we use double brackets, reaching right into the inner list. Then, if we want to simplify things, we can convert the whole nested list into a single vector using unlist. This slide sets the stage for manipulating complex data structures with ease. Let's talk about converting vectors to lists using the asList function. This function takes each element of a vector and turns it into its own list item. It's especially useful when a function requires a list instead of a vector. For example, if you have a numeric vector, asList breaks it down into individual list elements. It works not just for numbers, but also for characters, logical values, and factors. This is a key step in advanced list and data frame manipulation. Let's talk about null, a special value that means something is empty or simply not there. In R, we use isNull to check if a value is null. For example, if we assign null to x, then isNull x returns true. We can also remove elements from lists by setting them to null. This is a handy way to clean up or modify data structures as we work with advanced lists and data frames. Pairlists are a bit of a behind-the-scenes concept in R. They're an older style of list, mostly used internally. In day-to-day coding, we don't usually create them directly. Instead, we work with ordinary lists. You'll mostly encounter pairlists when dealing with function arguments or digging into R's internals. So, think of them as a legacy structure that still plays a role under the hood, even if we don't interact with them much. When working with data frames, we often need to grab specific pieces of information. You can index by row and column, just like a matrix, that's dfrc. Or, if you want a whole column, you can pull it by name using $call. For example, if we have a data frame with IDs and scores, we can easily select rows where the score is greater than 80. This way, we focus only on the data that matters. Now, let's look at how we add and remove columns and rows in a data frame. First, we add a new column called grade with some letter values. Then, we add a new row with specific data. After that, we remove the grade column entirely. Finally, we drop the first row from the data frame. These operations are fundamental when we want to reshape or clean our data before analysis. Mastering these steps gives us more control over our datasets. Let's talk about attach and detach, two handy functions when working with data frames. Attach lets you use column names directly, so you don't have to type the full data frame name every time. But here's the catch: you need to detach when you're done. Otherwise, things can get confusing. You can check what's attached by using search. It's a simple way to keep your workspace tidy and avoid mistakes. That wraps up what we've covered in Unit 7. We reshaped data frames by adding and dropping rows and columns, then used detach to manage our workspace. We learned that null means something's absent, and assigning it removes items. We also converted between lists and vectors, and explored how to extract elements with double brackets versus single brackets. Next, we'll dive into user-defined functions and scope. This video was created with SlideSpeak. Visit SlideSpeak to turn your presentations into engaging AI-narrated videos.